Hello, classmates. Good evening, Professor Salido. In the past 4 sessions, including tonight's session, we have learned different lessons from at least 4 financial crises. First is the Great Depression from 1929 to 1939. Second, the 1970s stagflation, OPEC oil price shock of 1973 and other oil price shocks. Third, the 1983 sovereign debt default and the EDSA revolution. And fourth, lessons learned from the Asian crisis of 1987 and the Japanese financial crisis. Finally, tonight, there is something that we could learn from that is not a full-blown financial crisis. The aftermath of the 9/11 attacks. We all remember how the 9/11 attacks shook not only America but the entire world. The world deeply mourned for the senseless loss of 2,977 lives that were killed from these attacks. Damage to property was massive. And movies have been made for the past years to remember 9/11. More than the loss of lives, how did the United States overcome the economic and financial consequences brought about by the 9/11 aftermath? Attorney Glenn Pulinar will give you the picture of the extent of the economic and financial damage immediately following the 9/11 attacks, particularly to the U.S. economy and the economic milieu prior to the 9/11 attacks. The immediate responses by way of fiscal and monetary policies will be discussed by Attorney Justin Keith Sarabosques.
Attorney Sarabosques will also tackle the implementation lags and criticisms pertaining to these responses and the lasting impact of 9/11 to the U.S. economy and in other economies. What are the policies and regulations that emerged from 9/11? This will be answered by Attorney Julius Rizada. His discussion will touch on policy responses that have remained in place to this date following 9/11 in the US and in the Philippines, and some issues pertaining to these regulations and policies. How did 9/11 impact on the developing countries like the Philippines? Attorney Maruli Ali Sanchez will address this, and he will present the Philippine Terrorism Situationer and the Philippine government responses to terrorism.